Hi, Ange.
April.
Just wondering, any new injury concerns or any players returning ahead of the game against Fulham?
So last night, this stage clean bill of health. Mind you, I thought that last week, and then we had a guy in surgery an hour later. But I think everything's all right from last night. But obviously, we'll see when the boys come in. And then return, unlikely. Romero's closer. He's probably the closest. But again, probably unlikely. But I'm not ruling him out. Still, he's got to get through some things today, and then we've got a session tomorrow.
Was Dom Solanke okay? He seemed to injure his groin, but still got through.
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's a bit sore, but we're kind of obviously, we're really thin squad wise, especially in that front third. So he's working hard for us, but at this stage, nothing that will sort of too significant.
I know you were talking again about entertainment and everything after the game last night. I guess with the Manchester City result in particular, and you think of that eye-catching 4-0 win at their place last week, are those the kind of moments and performances that justify just what you're trying to do here?
Well, I'm not trying to justify anything. It's just that that's the way we want to play, and it's the kind of team we want to be. I said that last night. That we kind of set out, and certainly I set out to make the team a team that is always looking to be on the front foot, score goals, be exciting to watch. Sometimes that means maybe not as controlled as other sides, but that's okay. It's part of sort of our identity, and that's kind of the road we started on. We want to stick to it. I think from our perspective, that's the kind of team we want to be.
I was going to test my lip reading skills on you. I think the TV pictures last night in the first half, you appeared to be giving Brennan Johnson some instruction. Though I think I got the word forward. Is it still a case that you're getting this message into them? Is it still work in progress in some cases, some examples?
Yeah, it's always a work in progress, and it's about, that's kind of my role, just to keep sort of driving the guys, because there can be at times a tendency to want to sort of, go back from full throttle and just sort of ease. And I just felt at that moment, I thought, we were on top of them, and Brendan was looking dangerous, and every time we went forward, we were looking good. And I just thought, and it's human nature that, I think we're winning 2-1 at the time, is to just sort of keep the ball, and it's just not who we want to be. So in those moments, it's more about me sort of trying to empower and embolden the players to not fear playing that way. And that's kind of, I think your lip reading was pretty good, mate.
Charlie, please.
Hi, Ange. In the build-up to this match, one of the Fulham players has said that while Spurs can be great, for example, beating Man City the way that you did, they're not unbeatable. And he said, look, teams in and around us have beaten Spurs this season. So in your quest for consistency, how important do you feel this game is on Sunday, and not to sort of repeat the mistakes that perhaps you saw against the likes of Ipswich?
Yeah, no, we're not unbeatable. I've got news for you, no team is. I don't think Fulham is either. So I think that's the beauty of our sport. I think even Liverpool have lost this year, so God forbid. I think what other teams think is not really relevant to us. He's right about one point, is that on our day we can beat anyone, and that's what we want to try and continue to be, the best we can be. Because when we are that, we're a compelling side, and we're growing into the team we want to be. And Sunday's game is no different to any other game for us. It's about continuing to grow, continue to develop. As I said, when we kind of put all our elements of our game together, we're a very, very good football side. We've struggled in a few games this year, for sure. Actually, we've only struggled in a couple of games this year, but again, that's part of our growth to kind of make sure that our levels don't drop to the levels they did in the games where we haven't really played to our identity. But that's okay. That's why we're here. We want to continue to push on.
And what have you made of Fulham this season?
They're not unbeatable, No, look, I've got a lot of time for Marco Silva. I think he's an outstanding manager, and he's got the team really, playing in a manner where they're always looking to be a threat to oppositions. He's stabilised them in terms of their level of performance now is good on a weekly basis. They've got some good players in there. We had a couple of tough battles with them last year. But because they play as well, it should be a good game.
And Dejan Kulusevski's covered more ground per game than any player in the top flight. He's actually nearly top for all players in the league, despite only playing 11 minutes at Leicester on the opening day. And I take it that kind of stamina is no fluke. I mean, can you give us an insight into how he trains, how he looks after himself, what he does behind the scenes to give him this energy?
Yeah, you're right. It's not a fluke. It's a lot of hard work. I'm sure there's some scientists with some genetics in there, some DNA. He just has a real capacity to be able to kind of run at a certain level consistently. His recovery rates are really elite in that he can go and rest pretty quickly and go again. But there's also that mental kind of strength to do it, because I think a lot of players maybe have the capacity but reach a limit where it's only natural they'll get tired and don't, if possible, don't go again until they need to, whereas Decky will just keep going and going. So it's a big part of his football. It's a big strength of his. Again, I'm using big words too early in the morning, biomechanist, but his running efficiency is really good. His style, he doesn't use too much energy. Seems like to me anyway, and that could be a load of crap anyway. I don't know, but it's very early. But he does, that because if you think about it, if you're trying to sort of stop him and he's in your vicinity, you kind of think, okay, this guy's going to go once, twice, 3, 4 times, and that can sort of wear oppositions down. And then he's got the quality as well. We just got to be mindful a little bit of not, overburdening him, because he's played a lot. And like I said, with the squad we've got, he's played in the middle, he's played obviously on the wing. We don't want to diminish that, but at the moment he still feels really good, and it's a big part of his game.
Just on his mentality, he seems to me to almost have that kind of Ronaldo, Harry Kane type laser focus on being the best and self-improvement. I mean, is that your kind of experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, he's spot on. He's in his mind, he's very ambitious about how good he can be, and that's a great thing, because he's relatively still a young man, and it's kind of for his position, there's a lot of improvement in him, and I've just got a feeling with Decky that he's not going to settle for any level apart from being the absolute best, and it's great for us.
Ian, please. Morning, Ange. How are you?
I'm okay, but
Good. Last night, again, you reiterated your style of play, and you've done it again this morning about being entertaining. Is there ever a scenario which dictates that maybe you need to be a bit more pragmatic?
Look, I don't know how many ways I can say this. I understand it. Look, there's plenty of room for pragmatism in all walks of life and in football as well, but I'm just not interested in it. I don't know why I need to change my approach to be, everyone else wants me to be. I'll continue to push this team to be a little bit different, play football in a different way. Maybe you'll all, when I'm long gone, you'll all pine for my entertainment, mate, and you'll have had your fill of pragmatism. But look, if we were pragmatic, then I'd say at 2-0 up at City away, we would have probably settled for 2-0. Yeah, and we wouldn't have got the victory we did. And and made it a special moment for our club. I always think the possibilities of what could be if we continue down this road rather than holding on to what we have. Because at the moment, what do we have? We don't have a hell of a lot. You know, we haven't achieved anything yet. We haven't had success. We haven't done all those things that we want to do. So if I start being pragmatic now, then maybe we'll never get there. So, last night we weren't at our highest level, but geez, I thought for 20 minutes we were as exciting as we have been since I've been here. I loved the sort of last 20 minutes of that first half. We should have got a third goal and it would have killed the game off, but we were exciting to watch, and that's what I want.
In terms of the title race for the top positions in the Champions League, right? Specify a number, because I know you don't like that either. In terms of this season, it seems more open because Man City have been falling on a difficult run, and so have other clubs. Are Spurs almost going under the radar in that?
I don't know, but look, I think in the context of where we're at in the season so far, we're in an okay position in the league. I think we was safe to say we could have been in a stronger position, but we're still there or thereabouts. We're still in the Carabao Cup. We were out of the Carabao Cup last year. In Europe, we're in a pretty good position to get through to the next round, and we've had to deal with some adversity. So I think so far our season's been solid. It's obviously had some extremes, which kind of I think taints people's picture as to where we're at. But I always try and step back and take a broader view, and we can, like I said, we can consider. I mean, we had 4 schoolboys on the bench last night, 2 actually at school this morning. We're working pretty hard with some pretty limiting factors and still maintaining competitiveness in all the competitions we're in. I think we're in an okay space.
And finally, with that, the 4 schoolboys on the bench, 2 going to school this morning, and the trials and tribulations at the moment with the squad through injury or Bentancur's absence, whatever it may be. What are you thinking about in January? Just beefing up the squad a little bit, or would that just be doing it for the sake of it?
No. I think we're always planning and planning for every scenario. I think I said a couple of days ago, a lot of that will depend on sort of where we are squad wise around that time. We're obviously, like, between now and then, it's really only Romero and Mickey van der Ven who hopefully be back in that time frame. But Richie hopefully will be back sort of early in the new year, and then we'll just assess where we are squad wise, and we're but certainly we're already sort of with Johan, I've already had a number of meetings around sort of what the potential is for a strategy in January. I think last year, we ended up doing a little bit of business, which I think helped us. So, but again, nothing sort of in concrete now, because January's always tricky, and a lot will be dependent on where we are squad-wise.
Hi, Ange. Kind of on that, are we at the stage now where streamlined squads for clubs are kind of a thing of the past, are going to have to become because of the amount of fixtures? Yeah,
I think so. And it's not just the amount of fixtures, just the attrition rate of. I mean, we've got a lot of injuries, but a lot of clubs have. I just think, we've been talking about it for quite a while, but at some point, it's going to come home to roost to all the powers that be that players are getting overloaded. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there's too much overwhelming evidence. So you're either going to get a diminished product where the best players aren't out there, or squads are going to have to carry, clubs are going to have to carry bigger squads to sort of cater for the demands of it.
So I'll ask you about Archie Gray as well. It's kind of easy to forget he's only 18 years old. He seems so tactically mature, so versatile. Where does he kind of sit in the young players you've probably worked with over the years?
Yeah, like I said, real maturity. I mean, he's 18. We asked him to play left back. He's never played that position before in his life, and yet he still does it with a real efficiency, a real calmness. I'm so excited by Archie, and I guess that's another positive for us, that we've got an 18-year-old who kind of plays, and no one really kind of mentions the fact that he's 18. They're just measuring his performance, and like I said, I'm asking him to do some different jobs, which is not easy. Definitely be probably a lot more comfortable for him if he was settled in one position. But he's playing football. He's playing football at a really high level against European football club, in the Premier League, and that's going to set us up really well for the player he's going to become. I thought Lucas was good when he came on last night. He made an impact. So, you know, with everything else that we're building, there's some real excitement around our young players as well.
Just a quick one on Dominic Solanke. Had a couple of chances last night. Is the team creating enough chances for him, or is that more something he's got to kind of get into certain areas?
No, I think created enough chances. I mean, last night, you know, he was sort of really unlucky with a couple of them, especially the header. And he's still very important to our football. Look, we should have scored a number of goals last night. You know, we just lacked a little bit. I mean, as good as we were at City, I thought we didn't create as many chances. We were a lot more sort of calm in front of goals, whereas last night we just lacked that little bit of just composure where we scored 4 or 5 last night, and Dom was a big part of that.
And just wanted to ask, were you happy when you sort of inherited, back to Kulusevski, when you inherited him, when you became the manager, and did you sort of see what he could become? Because obviously, I think when he arrived at Tottenham, he had sort of a mixed spell at Juventus, and he was sort of this wonder kid, but hadn't quite reached his potential at that time. Were you sort of happy, and could you have seen that potential when you came in?
Yeah, I was extremely excited because, you know, I'd sort of seen, you know, as you said, his trajectory as a player, and, you know, he'd made an impact already. I think the club had only sort of signed him as a loan with an option to buy when I got here, and you know, I was pretty keen to make sure that happened. And like I said, you don't really know until you work with a player and understand him better. But you know, as Dan was saying, he's got this real sort of laser eye focus about how good he could be. And that's, for any manager, that's what you want to see in players. You know, somebody who's just not going to settle for whatever level he's at.
He was telling us yesterday about he doesn't really use his phone much anymore. Like he's kind of saving his energy by not using his phone, and he's sort of doing all that stuff right off the pitch as well. Is he sort of the archetypal player for you, kind of on and off the pitch in both those respects?
Well, look, it depends. You know, I mean, you know, like, I'd hate to, like I said, I'd hate to think that, you know, if somebody enjoys doing something that they have to curtail it for any reason. But that's the world we live in. You know, I think a big part of that is making sure that the energy you have, you put to the right areas, and whether that's mental energy or physical energy. And I think, yeah, you know, mate, I guarantee you, I've got the quietest phone in the world. I've got about 3 people in it, and it never rings, it never messages, and I've got a pretty blissful life. Maybe a little bit of a lack of awareness of what people think about me, but that's not a bad thing either. I just think everyone likes me, and I get on with it.
Sounds very nice, thanks.
Thank you.
Finish with Jay, please.
Hi, Ange. Brennan scored again last night, scored against Man City. Just wanted to ask what you think the reason is behind why he seems to have been scoring more goals this year than last year.
I think some of it's just, you know, he's kind of, you know, you get sort of confidence and self-belief, and I think the biggest thing is just a real discipline around the positions he takes up. He's always in the right areas, and the way we play, if you get yourself into the right areas, and you know, I think then you get the benefit and rewards of it. And I think because he has got the rewards, he's really making sure that he's, like I said, really disciplined about always being there. And you know, it's easy to say because, you know, the way we play, but you know, sometimes it takes great concentration in that focus in that moment. You know, whether it's on the weekend against City, he kind of knew that, you know, it was likely Timo was going to be hitting that far post, and even last night, you know, that, you know, Decky was going to hit a certain area, and he's always there. And then, like I said, he's a good finisher. I still think there's more though. You know, I wasn't as happy with some parts of his game last night, particularly around, like I said, just being a bit more positive, and even the pressing wasn't great from sort of our front three. It hasn't been as good as so. But again, that comes back to the player himself wanting to improve and not settle for just, you know, okay, scoring some goals. I think he can be better, and I want him to be better.
You sort of touched upon it a little bit there, but I think 7 of his 10 Premier League goals have come inside the 6-yard box, where he's always attacking that back post. So is that something that you and the coaches always drilling into him on the training ground? You've just got to keep doing this.
Go watch Celtic play. Go watch Yokohama Marinos play. Go watch Brisbane Roar play. Go watch the Socceroos play, mate. You'll see that I would love to be a right winger in my team, mate. I would score bags of goals. Thanks, mate.